Heuston here. I am the host of the Lead Like a Woman show, where I feature strong female leaders and how they are changing our world for the better. We have over 40,000 people on social media who are sharing our message of empowering female leaders to empower others. Holy cow, that's a lot of people. Keep sharing and follow the show right now as you listen. And if you're so inclined, head on over to Apple and give us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. We charted in Ireland last week. Thank you to our Irish friends. So let's keep sharing. In this episode, we're going to talk about the power of storytelling. And I have to say, as a sidebar, my guest today is a redhead. My guest last week was a redhead. I'm a redhead. I think I might have to collect all of our redheaded guests just to do something special about us, because you know what? We're pretty damn special. But before we get to the conversation, you know this episode is brought to you by one of my companies. And today it's Lead Like a Woman. We've just created an offer for you. Get 1 hour of speaker coaching for just $350. That is 50% off the regular price. It's a limited time offer and there's a limited number, but head on over to leadlikeawoman.biz and click on that button that says Coach Me for details. And the best way to find me, type hashtag Lead Like a Woman into your search bar, or as always, I am all over LinkedIn. Today, I have the privilege of introducing, like I said, another redhead, Donna Griffit, world-renowned corporate storyteller, pitch alchemist, and best-selling author of Sticking to My Story, The Alchemy of Storytelling for Startups. Donna has worked globally for 2 decades in over 30 countries with Fortune 500 companies, startups, and investors in a wide variety of industries, helping them create, edit, and deliver powerful presentations, pitches, and messages. She magically spins raw data into compelling stories that captivate audiences and drive results. Through her guidance, her clients have raised over $1.5 billion. Donna, that's amazing. Welcome to the Lead Like a Woman show.
Thank you, Andrea. This weekend I have to update that to nearing the 2 billion mark, because I keep getting they raised 20 mil and they raised 5 mil. So it's super exciting. Yeah.
So exciting. I love that you do that, because what you're doing is what we do on the show. You're empowering others.
Yes.
I am so impressed. So a corporate storyteller and a pitch alchemist first. You started your career, well, you started as an intern at one point at Bellevue Hospital, which I think is crazy pants. But then you went into being a communication specialist for a company that does trainings. So I want to know, what led you to jump out on your own?
So I see life as a series of serendipitous signposts. And sometimes in the moment of the greatest crisis lies opportunity. And I was working for a wonderful company called Boyer Communications Group for several years. It was my first job out of my master's degree at NYU, when I suddenly discovered serendipitously that I had always acted, and I went to get my degree in drama therapy because I didn't think acting was going to be quite enough. Yet drama therapy had basically the salary of a starving artist, so that wasn't going to work. And then I went to train in training and organizational development at a continuing postmaster's course at NYU. Sent my resume out to the first place, got hired as a corporate trainer in presentation skills and business writing skills, traveled the world doing it, and then boom, 2008 hit. So the decision to go out on my own was kind of a kick in the pants, because our entire year of training calendar got decimated.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I remember that. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So it's like the first thing to go when there's a financial crisis is travel and non-essential training, because, telling your story in sales and presentations is non-essential, right? So it was kind of this moment of like, crap, what do I do now? Because I'd never had a job. I'd always been a subcontractor and worked for others or done my own thing. And it was like, everybody's being laid off.
What am I going to do?
What am I going to do? And then serendipitously, so I went and I studied coaching and NLP and a few other things. And the person I was training with said that he had a client that needed help with his professional speeches. He was a cardiothoracic surgeon. And I was like, sure, that's great. And then working with him on his professional speeches, he showed me 2 medical devices that he had created. And he's like, can you help me? I'm invited to a big investor conference in the summer, and I've got 5 minutes to pitch each. And I was just like, well, I've never worked with a startup, but hey, a story's a story. This was
right.
Pivotal moment, major pivotal moment. This was like about 2009. And then when we worked these pitches, I ended up presenting on his behalf, which has probably the only time in my life that I've done it, because he was a very senior kind of character that he could save a bunch of lives, but he would die in front of a PowerPoint. I'm sure you've seen it. Like,
yes, we work with people like that.
Yes, exactly.
Let's change that mindset.
Right. So it was such a crunch that he decided that he wanted me to present and he would be there to field the questions. We did it. Then the other companies got up to present and my heart just broke for them, because they were shot down by the investors in the room in like the first 30 seconds of their pitch. And I was just like, geez Louise, why wouldn't they hire someone like me to work with them? They had this opportunity. Then I was like, wait a minute. Checked. Nobody was owning the space of storytelling for startups. I mean, storytelling even then, back in 2008, 2009 was a very nascent term. I mean, Nancy Duarte kind of coined it. But it wasn't really a thing. People were still like, is that like a librarian? And then I was like, okay, I'm going to be the storytelling for startups person. And people then were like, the lovely people that are like, startups don't need you. Startups won't pay. And I was like, thank you for that. And little by little, I started building my credibility. I'd work on pitch competitions and demo days. And my name started to be associated with pitches. And that started to bring me leads. And it's been, since then, like 13, 14 years and 1,000 VC startups, accelerators, and Silicon Valley giants later, here we are. So it's
look at you now. You're also an author.
I added that to my list a year ago with the book.
And your book is very cool. It's called Sticking My Story, The Alchemy of Storytelling for Startups. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. You have witnessed thousands of pitches and you've helped people win. Win is what I want to say. Yeah. So I want to know, what is the alchemy of storytelling for startups? There's a broad question, but you can give us a taste of it.
Absolutely. So the reason I call it the alchemy, and I call myself a pitch alchemist and not like a pitch magician or the magic of, is that it's taking an element that is already high value and transforming it through like a chemical, metaphysical process into something even more valuable. So if you think of alchemy and gold, or even the transformation of coal to diamond, something has to happen in order to change this element into something that's like 10x the value of what it was.
Absolutely, yeah.
So usually I will meet these incredible, brilliant, bright startup founders that are either highly technical and in their own head, or just lost and discombobulated and all over the place. And my brain sees their data and like starts to compile it. You know how like you see, I don't know, in movies, like you see this montage of somebody connecting dots in their brain, like almost like a beautiful mind. I don't know.
Like a mind map.
Yes, exactly. And it's just like the story appears and I'm like, how am I the only one seeing this?
Because you're an alchemist.
Well, kind of, I guess, or I have an LLM in my brain. I think I'm Donna GPT. It's basically like I've realized that I have something AI algorithm LLM, and I have a feeling OpenAI has plugged
right?
in.
Yeah, it's
plugged into my brain somehow and is training on it. I haven't been able to prove it yet, but we'll see.
Like that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to borrow that, Donna. Anyway.
So, I mean, it's really about finding the brilliance and letting it shine. So
yes.
Removing the layers and the cobwebs and the dust and the unnecessary mumbo jumbo to get to the core of that diamond that really shines brilliantly.
That is beautiful. Yeah. And it's sometimes hard for people who are in it to see that diamond.
So hard because they're like there. They have their
exactly.
hands. And they're like, I don't know why people are not getting it. It's so clear to me. I'm like, honey, move your hands, take them away, and look, who are you talking to? Yeah. Do a 180. That's my first big tip. don't think like you wanting to sell, think like them wanting to buy.
Exactly. It's about the audience. It's not about you. It is never about the person who is pitching or selling or presenting. The most important character in that story is the damn audience. Oh, sorry, the audience. Excuse me.
The darn audience.
The darn audience.
And actually, the most important character, and I talk about this a lot in my book, is the villain.
Ooh, tell us about that.
Well, everybody thinks like the hero is the protagonist and the most important part of the story, but it's really not, because the person or character driving the story is actually the villain. It's the struggle in their lives. It's the gap in their lives. It's the missed opportunity.
Problem you're solving.
It's the pain that you are able to come and take away.
Yes.
So the minute that they feel that you get them and you get their pain and you have a solution for that pain, it's like, come on, give it to me, take my money.
Yes, exactly. And so what's interesting about that, and I'm relating this back to some of the work we do, is that we sell confidence. And when our big corporate clients say, what, you sell confidence? I'm like, yeah, because 8 out of 10 of you would rather swim with sharks or dive into a snake pit than get up on a stage. Isn't that crazy? It's the number one public fear, as you know.
Yeah.
I
never thought of it that way. Like, I'll go swim with sharks. I'd rather take pictures with lions in the lions. Yes. But no.
Don't put me on a stage. And it's so interesting when you flip that script, when you flip that story to that pain point, to that villain, like you're saying, how much more powerful the story can become.
So much more powerful. And it's like, it amplifies it. And that's the alchemy. I'd say probably looking at it, the real alchemy happens when you realize it's not about you, it's about them.
It's about them.
And you start looking through that new lens of how are they seeing the world? What keeps them up at night? I was working with a client this morning on their sales deck, and we had done their sales deck a couple months ago. And the CEO said, I feel like there's still like this missing gap. And I'm like, let's have another follow-up session, because I always want people to be happy. And we finally did it today. And they had been to RSA last week, which is the big cyber.
I know RSA. We've been backstage there many times.
Yep. So I was really happy that it got postponed, because sometimes the timing is everything. And his head of product said she had been pitching people, and the minute they heard that bit, they were like, they got it. And I'm like, well, let's take that bit and move it up. And it's like taking where they have a bruise or an open wound and going, nah. and then we're going to make anything. And then we're going to come with the Band-Aid and the bandage. And like, we've got the way to solve that.
I love it.
Heightening the pain in order to come in and show the hallelujah moment.
I love it. So very fascinating, because that's not the way people think. And that's definitely not the way a lot of founders think. And sorry, I'm going to go deeper. That's not the way any tech founder thinks. They think, I created this tech. I'm amazing. Let me share it with you. And that's not what it's about. No.
And it's like, again and again, I see this happening now. Experienced tech founders that have been there before, I think they get it. And they also know how much time they've wasted trying to create powerful materials. And they're like, it's not everybody's area of genius, especially when it's your own baby.
You're right.
So it's okay to come and take someone like you or like me from the outside that can see it with objective eyes and say, here's your story.
Yes.
And then it's like this relief of like, oh my God, I've been trying to say that for months.
Yes.
And I just haven't been able to. And like, it's like you pulled these thoughts out of my brain. And
how did you do that? It's magic.
Yeah, it is. And and storytelling is magical. I think you and I both know that. And it's alchemical, magical. It just does it. And we were also talking before the show. It's a moment of vulnerability, of connecting with the audience, especially if there's a personal story there. And I love finding the origin story of where they came up with this idea. And it's hard for people sometimes to go there. I was working with this brilliant Korean company that they have created this way to detect the 6 deadliest types of cancer in one test, non-invasive, liquid biopsies.
Wow.
And like in 20 minutes, they know, and also precision where the tissue that could potentially be. We're talking cancers like liver and pancreas, things that are usually not detected till stage 4.
Right, where it's too late.
And I asked him, where he came up with this inspiration. And he told me about a friend of his that had gone through cancer, gone through treatments, and he was in remission and everybody was so happy. And he said, I'm going to take my son on this trip. And he took him on the trip. And then 6 weeks later, he died.
Oh.
And oh my God, I'm writing. Do you ever have the experience where you're writing somebody's story and you're just weeping? Because it's like, it's
absolutely.
And he said,
so powerful.
I'm not so sure though that I want to tell that story. So what we did was we created a second narrative that if he feels comfortable enough, he can say the first one and then lead in the second, or just start with the second. And the second one was Princess Kate.
Oh, yeah.
She, apparently, I don't know if you know this, but when she was diagnosed with cancer, they found it by accident. She had abdominal surgery.
Wow.
Discovered cancer by accident, and this could have probably gone undetected for months and years, and it would have been too late. And that's the problem. So much. So he has two narratives, one that's more of a personal thing and one that's more of a everybody knows kind of thing, and he can choose where to go, but they're both stories that people are like, oh my God, I get that.
Yeah. Oh. And that's what you need. You need that connection. I get it. There's that pain point. So when you jumped out on your own to do everything you're doing, my God, you've got great energy. I'm going to say that again. I said it before we went online, but you just have
likewise feeling it. It's the redhead thing.
It is.
Yes.
I want to know, instead of the lessons you had to learn, instead of, oh my God, I did this wrong. I want to know when you jumped and you hung out that shingle, Donna, what went right?
I think first of all, like I said, it's listening to those serendipitous moments and those road signs. So if you're feeling like intense butterflies in your stomach, which can be construed either as fear or as excitement,
right?
If you call it, I always know that if I'm feeling that and my heart beating fast, that's kind of the right thing to do, even though it feels like I'm about to take this leap over this bottomless pit to the other side of the abyss. So look for those moments and say yes. Say yes to opportunities. Say yes to things that scare you.
Yes, I agree.
Two is thank the voices that come in and tell you that you shouldn't be doing it this way, but listen to your gut and move forward. Because, I mean, think about it. Storytelling wasn't a thing when we started out and we kind of paved the way. Today, YouTubers, bloggers, podcasters, and a bazillion other jobs that are popping up around AI didn't exist 2-3 years ago, 5 years ago. And I think my daughters, they're almost 11 and almost 8.
Oh, fun ages.
They're going to be when they grow up, perhaps has not even been created yet.
Oh my
so how do we know until we discover our area of genius? And then there's the ikigai. You know the ikigai? I love it. So it's like that place where you're in the middle of your passion, what you love doing, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And as a woman, I will say, do not leave that part out.
That's right, because that's the Venn diagram, that's where Ikigai is such a great concept, by the way. Thank you for bringing that up. But it is the marriage of all those pieces. Yes. It gets you to the alchemy, to the magic in that little middle place where they all cross.
And notice the symmetry in it, and everything in Japan is so precise and so beautiful. Like if one isn't there, then it's kind of off kilter. And
absolutely.
And it's like I knew I would be a great drama therapist or a great actress, but making money there was not necessarily in the cards. And I'm like, I don't ever want to be reliant on a spouse, a parent, a sugar daddy.
Exactly, a sugar daddy. No sugar daddy. I agree.
So I wanted to be able to be self-sufficient, and it's being okay with that. Like some people are like, oh, it's not about the money. Yeah, it is too. Like
it can be, because without the money you can't do anything else.
Yes. And then when you're making enough money, you can also decide how you want to give back and do the things that are beyond just what you're making money for. So if you have a stable, like for me, if I have a stable income and everything, and then someone comes along and is like, I can't afford to pay, but this, then I'll be like, you know what? I'm happy to help out in this way. And I'm happy to go beyond. And I do a lot of mentoring, especially for women founders and women in general, helping them find their voice.
Yes.
So then I can afford to give the time because I have income from places that can pay for it.
Yeah.
So, it's all balances and checks. And I really believe strongly in karma, because when you put it out there, it comes back.
Yes. So what I want to share also with our listeners about ikigai is ikigai means, iki in Japanese means to live, and gai means reason, which translates to
Raison d'être.
to live. And like Donna was just saying, it's really the diagram, the Venn diagram is that crossover, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. So I want you to remember that fourth one, because you can do things that you love and you're good at and what the world needs. You also need to make money. You need to understand that's what you can be paid for. And so it's such a beautiful concept. So I want to say thank you for bringing that up, Donna.
Oh, I'm so happy that you like, and I think for women, and let's be real for a minute. Is a lead like a woman. I think that there's a few places where we fall short of ourselves.
Yes.
One is asking for money.
Yes.
Two is valuing that we deserve that and more.
Right.
And I still struggle with this. Like every now and then, my husband's like, "You gotta increase your rates," and I'm like, but then you say it and you close, and you're like, "Well, why haven't I been asking for this all along?" And three, there's that moment of, well, isn't that being braggy? Isn't that being conceited? Isn't that being arrogant? And I say, listen, think of a snot-nosed little 22-year-old punk just graduating Stanford thinking he's God's gift to the earth.
And he does.
He pitched his startup. And he doesn't have a quarter, an eighth of the power and the achievements that you might have as a woman, but you don't have like that. It's like we've been conditioned to think, oh, well, it's not polite to toot your own horn. Oh, well, our things will speak for themselves. Our achievements will. No, they won't.
Yes, we have to. I share that with some of the women I mentor. Keep a file folder somewhere that has, even if you have to write it down, your wins, because you need.
I call it a kudos file.
That's right. You got to reference those wins all the time.
All the time, whether you're up for a promotion or a raise,
or you're looking for funding.
Or you're looking for funding, Absolutely. Or you're looking for a new job. These have to correlate, because companies want to see the innate value that you can bring to them.
Yes.
And if you can show that measurably, then it's not empty words. It's not bragging. It's truth.
It's truth. Absolutely. I agree so much so. What's interesting now is I want to talk to you about female founders and how we amplify their voices, because historically, the VC capital, or the capital world in general, was all these men's groups. They knew each other because they were in the same fraternity. They were at the same golf club. This is how business was done and how money was given to new ideas. However, there's an opportunity for women now, and there are actually VC funds and angel funds that only give money to women now, which I think is fantastic.
About time.
It is about time.
Yeah.
But less
or women, or companies that have a woman in a leadership position at least.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be all women.
No, but
there's a representation there. Yeah.
But less than 2% of all VC money goes to female founders. So Donna, how do we amplify women's voices? How do we do that? How do we get them more funding?
The answer is in what you just said. We amplify.
Amplify.
So we need more women in positions of power to reach out and scaffold those that are rising up.
Ooh, I love that.
And I think that we have a responsibility, because we've had help along the way, whether it's from men or from women, and men are incredible mentors and assets.
Absolutely.
We don't want to, it can't just be women.
Right.
But at the same time, we have to look at these things and say, like, okay, where can I help? Where can I open a door? Where can I make an intro? Where can I make sure my firm is investing in more women? Because when someone comes to pitch a VC, VCs are often trying to see themselves in the story.
Right. They do. They need to see themselves with that pain. They have to.
And it's kind of hard if it's a very woman-oriented product. And women are not only pitching women-oriented products. So, but you have to, again, tell the story through that framework.
Right.
Now, if it's a woman, oftentimes we get it, but you need to adjust yourself to be able to say these things.
Yeah.
Now, I was coaching a pitch of a woman in a fertility and I said, you need to tell this story. It's a very vulnerable. She's like, every time I tell it, I see men investors like rolling their eyes and scoffing. And I'm like, listen, get it. But if you come in with this jaded attitude of they're all not going to get it, so we're just going to be that, you're going to lose the magic.
Sure.
Because you're going to find the men that regardless, they will look at you and your achievements and your accomplishments and your pedigree and be like, holy crap, it doesn't matter if she's a man, woman, or otherwise mark other box. It matters that they know their stuff.
Right. And there's somebody who will relate. And you know, in those, I don't want to call them judges, but those funders, they are judging you. But of those funders, there are some who will relate to the champion, to the person who's so passionate and so incredibly driven. And there are others who will relate to, I want to say, the academic or the academia, because they need to know the facts and the figures and make sure this is going to work. So a really good pitch, and I'm speaking to women, it's also men too, but really, it's a really good pitch marries all that together. So you can cross all of them.
Absolutely. It's got all the ingredients in there, and it's knowing how to tell it in the right story. If you have a super powerful team with lots of experience, put that up front.
Yes.
If you have incredible numbers, traction, growth, revenues, put that up front. Don't wait till slide 17, which I see sometimes. I'm like, are you kidding me?
And please don't have 17 slides for your pitch. 10,
I call
12,
that
max.
Well, here I'm gonna kind of actually give my opinion on the numbers.
Good, I love it.
But I will say the brag slide, if you have significant traction, I call it the brag slide. That should be up front. Perk them up, make them listen like, okay, you've got numbers, you've got my attention. I mean, I know your field, but you're selling money.
Yes.
I want to be part of this.
I agree.
Now, in terms of numbers, my philosophy is how many slides? It's one big idea per slide.
Yes, one. And that's it. I am with you 1,000%.
So that might increase the volume of slides, but it'll decrease the density of the slides.
Yes.
If you have 10 slides and they look like a DMV eye chart, you haven't really fit the brief of Kawasaki and what they were intending to say.
Exactly.
And people see these things and they tend to follow it like, oh, he said 10 slides. I better get everything into 10 slides. Everything 10 slides. And they look like, oh my God, help me. My eyes are
I agree with you. There's a reason for an appendix, people. There's a reason.
Yes. And I was chatting with Nancy Duarte, who's like one of my idols when it comes to storytelling. I met with her recently and gave her a copy of my book, and we were talking about this. And so she has this philosophy also of like the billboard, where it's like your slide should be like a billboard. I'm driving past a billboard. I have a glimpse to see what it's about, and I get it.
Please do not put sentences on those slides. Do not put tons of words.
Bullets.
But people have to get it quickly. And I'm going to say also, if you're pitching or presenting, don't ever read those bullets.
Oh, no, do not.
It's not allowed. That is the biggest no I have for you is don't read your slides.
Biggest no. And also, you can have a version that is meant for send out that has a little bit more text.
Yes,
you don't have to like, well, what if someone's going to read it later and they're not going to get it? I try to strike a balance like of a headline, a foot line, and then maybe another couple bullets on it so that it could be a standalone. But if you're going up on a stage, like an RSA or a TED Talk or whatever, boom.
That's right.
Visuals, things that grab them and complete their listening with the visuals.
Exactly.
Complementary.
Yep, because people learn very differently. And so I'm a TEDx coach. You just hit on something that I love. I'm a TEDx coach. And I've had people say, well, I want to do this with slides. I'm like, first and foremost, you don't need slides at all. That audience is looking and listening to you. However, there are people who are visual learners. And in order to enhance their learning, enhance their listening skills, you could use an image. Don't put words unless that word is created as a graphic. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And so, there's so many tips and tricks and so many best practices and so many things that we could tell people, but you have the one winning formula.
So my winning formula.
I want to know what that is. Will you share with us?
So my winning formula is based on my acting past and my love of theater, which I'm now sharing with my little girls, who I've gotten addicted to musicals and theater since they could basically listen and hold up their little cute heads.
Oh, I love that.
We went to see Mother's Day. We went to see The Music Man together, and it's like, you know. Anyway, so writing has evolved, like storytelling has evolved, like, you know, from cave paintings, which were the first recorded stories back 36,000 years ago, through Aesop's fables, and then Greek classics, and Shakespeare, Chekhov, Moliere, and all of like the early writing was done in acts,
right?
And they were very archetypical acts, and that's the way it's very intentional, because that's the way our brain processes information and communication, and that's how we learn to communicate. And then somewhere along the line, we've sort of lost touch with that, and I wanted to bring it back. Now, I know that a lot of people talk about the hero's journey and the archetype. I wanted to simplify it for startups, because they don't have time for like delving deep into archetypes. They kind of want something that they can do, and it's very translatable into their thing. So I created the 4 acts of a startup pitch deck.
That's so cool.
And the 4 acts are the problem or the opportunity,
right?
The villain, the solution, and how it works in the demo, which is the hero.
Right.
Then it's the business plan, which is like the hero's plan of action. And then finally, the vision for the future, or, you know, what will happen once the hero activates their plan.
I love it.
Now, a lot of times I love this at, like, I'll give workshops here in Silicon Valley and startups, and I'll be like, you know, so this is my winning formula, and then like problem solution. And then like, now I can hear some of your brains going, really? Like, I learned that a bazillion years ago in business school. That's what the Silicon Valley chick has to bring us. Yes. It's actually not just is it old, it's antiquated. It's thousands of years old. It works. Now, I see it as a foundation. I am now sitting in a room in a home.
Right.
I see walls and windows and decor, but I know innately that there's a foundation and a framework. Otherwise, I would be sitting in rubble.
Exactly.
But it becomes transparent. And that's the same thing with the framework of your story. So my 4 acts for your investor pitch should be transparent, and what they should see is the brilliance of your content, but it's arranged in a way that it holds up.
Yes. Oh, yes. It has to be. I love that. That is beautiful.
It's the container for your content. And the contenter. The contenter.
I like that. I love that. So what kind of advice would you give to women who want to pitch, women who want more sales? What kind of advice, just in general, would you say to them? What is one golden nugget they can take away?
You're going to be scrutinized a lot more than men. It does. It sucks, but it's true.
It's
know your numbers, know your market. I have a whole section in my book that extracted over 100 questions that investors asked, and like, it's like questions about this funding round, questions about the next funding round, questions about your company, about your secret sauce. Like, so I kind of extracted the most common questions that you're going to get from investors, and prepare yourself. It's not just the pitch that you have to prepare for. And even though once you use the 4 acts, they're based on questions,
right?
Based on their top of mind questions, burning questions that they need answered. But there's going to be other questions. So you want to prepare yourself. So think of the things that you've been asked before. Think of the things that you think you might be asked, and think of the things you dread being asked. Create a spreadsheet and answer all those questions. And if you can't answer it, ask your CTO to answer it, or whoever is the domain expert. And everyone should know how to answer all these questions. And then you prepare the questions and the answers just as much as you'd prepare for the pitch. Because if they're asking you questions during a pitch, that's a really good sign.
It is a very good sign, because they want more information.
They want to know more. They want to see how you address these questions. And then if they ask you a question that you don't have the precise answer, then you can say, you know what? Excellent question. I don't have all the data in front of me. Can I get back to you? And then there's an excuse to continue the conversation. You don't want to answer all questions like that, because then it sounds like you're
like you don't know.
You also don't want to sound there like, you want to be ready.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh, this has been so fun. Okay, so I have to ask you this question. You're giving us all sorts of great little nuggets, but at some point in your life, you've had somebody give you a piece of advice or something that helped you lead better or learn better. So tell us, what is the most impactful piece of advice you've ever received and still resonates with you to this day?
So, there's so many things I picked up along the way, but I think Brad Boyer, who was the one who hired me to start this work.
Yeah.
As we were training, I would go with him to workshops and watch him, and then think, oh gosh, like I've got to do this and I've got to be like that, and he's like, listen, you need to find your way of doing this, your authenticity. You don't want to mimic someone else, copy someone else. You need to find your unique way of telling that story, or of bringing these examples, or of making the audience laugh. And it's like, okay, don't try to be someone else. Find the best in yourself.
Find it within you.
Front and center. Yes.
That's beautiful. I love that. Sorry, it just makes me happy. I think that's something that
storytellers of the world unite. Yes,
that's right. I love it.
Yes.
So that said, Donna, I know that you have a lot of superpowers, and I could probably name some for you. One is being a redhead. But so Donna, what do you believe is your super?
I see stories.
Ooh, I see stories. I'm sorry.
Where people see bits and bytes and data and technology. Wow. I see stories that just, it's like a brain map, like you see in the movies where like people imagine connections and dots. I just see stories, and I'm like, how is this not obvious?
But it's not. And what a superpower that is. Oh my gosh. Oh, this has been so much fun. It's so energy giving today. So thank you. We've had such a great
Thank you. I am so glad to meet you and know that there's other people out there doing this incredible work, because stories are so potent and so powerful, and we all have them. We all do. Tell them. We all connect to them.
Yes.
So find the way to infuse your work with stories. It's not just like telling a random joke. It's not an icebreaker. It's a trust enhancer.
It is. Oh, it's that authenticity that creates connection every time.
Amen.
I love it. Well, Donna Griffit, corporate storyteller and best-selling author and pitch alchemist. Where can we find you online?
DonnaGriffit.com. 2 F's, 1 T, no H.
No H, people. Donna Griffit. Griffit.
Or you could just do DonnaGPT.com and you'll find me as well.
Oh, I like that. That's great. Donna, thank you for being here.
Thank you, and thank you so much.
All right, listeners, I want you to remember we all have superpowers. Donna can see stories where it should be obvious, but they're not. And so Donna can see them. I love that superpower. I have superpowers, and listeners, you all have superpowers. Please use them for good. And thank you for listening today to the Lead Like a Woman show, where we are passionate about empowering female leaders to empower others. And I want you to go and find your own authenticity. Have a great day.